especially in Germany. I think probably one-third of the people in Germany, Western Germany, were spies for Eastern Germany, maybe even more. And that all came out when Stasi was shut down, which I used to work on as well. And the records, of course, disappeared because they didn't want people to know who was doing what to whom. And so there's a whole daisy chain, if you may, of things that went on during the 40s and 50s, actually 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, that nobody knows about. Now, I will say that the breaking of the Japanese diplomatic code was declassified in 1967. And I was surprised that they did that, but nobody paid any attention.
Well, the reason they did is because they like to tout how the Illuminati works. They like to give signatures before they do things. They like to then later, when nobody can do anything about it or when people aren't looking, put it in plain daylight and release all of it. They do it intentionally to mock us.
Yes, that's probably true. But anyway, it changed my whole life because my whole way of looking things changed dramatically. And then I had been doing research while within the government as well as spying. And it gave you a whole new outlook on what's going on in life, an outlook that very, very few people have the opportunity to experience. I mean, the people who did the kind of work I did, probably there might have been 10,000 of them. I don't even really know, but there were not an awful lot of them, and we were all over the world. And it was a very selective process, and we had a special clearance beyond anybody else called a crypto clearance. And I don't know what they use today, but that's what we had. And we were highly prized individuals because back in the 1950s, they used to complain that it cost them $250,000 just to train us. So I would guess that would probably be $2.5 million or $5 million today. I don't know. But
yeah,
it was
10 or 30 or who knows, right?
And I'll tell you, there was nobody in there, even in the motor pool, who had an IQ of under 130.
Wow. The Dow Jones drops below 8,000, ladies and gentlemen, this morning. The Dow Jones, 7,938, down 62-plus points, Bob Chapman.
Well, it's been down more today,
okay.
And I think it's going to continue. They can't hold it up. And I see LIBOR rates are starting to rise. I see the 10 and 30-year rates starting to rise, even the 2-year rates. So there's a lot of pressure on interest rates. People want to get paid more for holding the perceived safety of the dollar, and that's going to continue. Incidentally, any of you out there who want to refinance, do it as fast as you can. The rates are down anywhere between 4 3/8 and 5%. Grab what you can. I've had people coming to me telling me what the rates are that they've been offered. And so if you're going to refinance, do it now. You probably have a window that's open maybe for 4 or 5 months, and that'll be it.
Now, the
because
Republicans
later this year, interest rates are going back up.
The Republicans say they're trying to push for 4%. You think they'll get it done?
Excuse me. No, I don't think that they will. And you know, the question arises again: a 4% loan, and those kind of loans are guaranteed by the FHA, and you know that's setting up a loan that's being funded today and has to be paid tomorrow. And the rates are going to be much higher tomorrow, and the losses are going to be taken by government, which is the taxpayer.
Yes. Interesting. No doubt you got a window. Rates are at historic lows right now. It is a good time to refinance. We believe the stock market will continue to go down. Oh, it'll have highs and lows, don't get me wrong, but the highs are always lower and the lows are always lower. The GOP leaders doubt that the stimulus package will pass the Senate. What do you think, Bob?
Well, I think it's a political thing, and they're all trying to make a deal. But the real bailout, again, is is for Wall Street. And this is only an interim item. The stimulus package will have to be repeated in a year, maybe even sooner. And you're going to see more and more money going to General Motors, the whole daisy chain that supports General Motors, the manufacturers that come up with the parts and everything that GM and Chrysler and Ford don't make. And I think Ford's going to need money. I think under the circumstances they've done very well up till now, but I think they're going to need money. And there's going to be many other companies. The insurance companies, we've only seen 3 of them in trouble. There's a lot more than that. And I've told people that in the publication that if you have more than half your policy paid for, you're self-insuring yourself. And if you're older and you have a big buildup in a policy, pull the money out and put it in gold and silver-related assets. I saw one the other day. The payoff was $271,000 if this 84-year-old man would die tomorrow. But if he didn't die tomorrow, he could get $250,000 in cash from the policy.
Take it ASAP.
Take it as soon as possible.
No doubt.
And you buy gold and silver-related assets, the only thing that's going to be verifiably safe
is gold and silver coinage, ladies and gentlemen, and long-term storable food as well. Go to freezedryguy.com and get your food today. Bailed out Bank of America sponsors Super Bowl. Remember, I told you a couple hours ago before this headline appeared that, hey, I wonder how many bailout companies spent $100,000 per second on Super Bowl commercials, and I guess Bank of America, big old bailout company, got that done. Leo, Massachusetts, you're on the radio with Bob Chapman.
Hi, thanks for taking the call. First, I was wondering that website or any article on you were talking about earlier about the worshiping of Obama.
Oh, let's see, the worshiping of Obama. There's not really a website. Or what is that website, Kurt, of that story that I gave? Do you have that handy?
Look it up here. Was out there in Nevada. Let's see.
Keywords would do it, I guess.
I sorry about that. Obama and the Messiah and the government schools, I suppose, would look it up.
No, there's a.
Sorry about that.
Anyway, you can listen to the archives at republicbroadcasting.org and get that. Anything for Bob Chapman?
Yeah.
I'll also try to find it and announce it on the air if I can find it on the break, though. Go ahead, sir.
Great.
Sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Chapman, wasn't there a war between Russia and Japan prior to the revolution, the Bolshevik Jewish Communist Revolution?
Go ahead, Bob.
Yes, there was. That's what the Potemkin village was all about, and the writings of Dostoevsky. Yes, they did have a war, and the Japanese lost, and that's how the northern islands today, Sakhalin and places like that, are Russian territory.
But I mean, didn't it happen right during that entity? Because wasn't that a diversion to move the troops to the other side of the continent?
Yes, but I think it was a second land grab by the Soviet Union toward the end of the war, if you remember, of northern Japan. That came as an afterthought, but we always had, during the Second World War, we had troops in the Aleutian Islands, and we also had a lot of them in Alaska because we didn't know whether Russia would hold up, and that could have been an avenue where Germany could have came over, so to speak. And there's some interesting stories about the Aleutians and the personnel that was stationed there.
Sir?
Yeah, the book on Holy Trinity details something about how the Vatican, the KGB, and the United States Secret Service all ended up compromising each other. Are you familiar with that?
No, but I'm sure that that's so, because it is very, very hard to maintain absolute security. And, you know, you'll always get one or two people who can blow the thing wide open. And that's just human nature. In some places, there are lots of them who will trade information for money, usually in Europe. We've had breaches in the United States, but not too often, but very, very damaging. The FBI agent who was caught some years ago, and then we had Jonathan Pollard, and